Welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you have joined us to this small but important, intimate dialogue around the Oral History Project and our upcoming visit to Minneapolis next week in the coming days. So I'll go ahead and just introduce myself, and then I'd like to invite our staff to introduce themselves, and we'll go ahead and share then a bit about our work to this point and what we are planning to do in this week together. Tlasokamati wal miaki wan shimo panolti nano toka Samuel ni mexika iwan ni nawa nane wali Los Angeles y wan El Paso y wan Zacatecas ni nemi ashkan imnisha ska Dakota Makoche. But thank you for being here and welcome, relatives. My name is Sam Torres. I serve NABS as the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, as well as the Senior Director of the Oral History Programs. I'm Mashika Nawa, and Irish and Scottish on my mother's side. I was born and raised in California, Southern California, in a small Mexican-American community called El Sereno in East Los Angeles. And I have relatives in El Paso, Texas, in the Juarez, Mexico side, and Zacatecas, Mexico as well. I was hired back in 2019 as a Director of Research and Programs, and now we're excited to be able to share this work with you all today. So I'll go ahead and hand it off to Charlie, and then Charlie will introduce themselves and hand it off to the next person on staff.
All right, Miigwech Sam, Ani Bojo, Kinawea. Hello, my relatives. Nimidamagizi Clayandiznakaz. My spirit name is Dancing Eagle Woman. I am Sault Ste. Marie Ojibwe from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Makwa and Dodem, I am Bear Clan. So hello to all my Bear Clan relatives. And yeah, let's see. I started with NABS in November of 2023, and I am the Oral History Project team lead. So I'm glad to be here with everybody, and I'm glad that you all could take time out of your day to be here with us, and looking forward to sharing a bit more about our project and what the week in Minnesota is going to look like next week. So with that, I'll hand it over to Meg.
Yat everybody, family members, relatives here. My name is Meg Singer. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, by way of the Navajo Nation of Cameron, Arizona. It's where the Grand Canyon is. Besh Bichae Nishli, Kia'ani Bashische. So I'm from the Hardhat clan, born for Kia'ani and Ashihi, which is the Salt clan. And I'm the Director of Community Impact. I'm glad that you're here. And my connections with boarding schools, my grandma attended the Sherman Institute in Riverside, California, and my dad and aunt went to Tuba City boarding school. I'm going to send it over to Dr. Denise.
Bonjour, Anin. Hello, Indinaway Magana Duke. I greet you as my relatives. Wabishka, Bene, Salanakwat, Ikoi, Dijinakaz, Ikanakwajun, and Dunjiba, Shijak, Dodame. My spirit name, our tribal name is Thundercloud Woman, and I'm from the Turtle Mountain Reservation where I am living now. And my clan is the Crane clan. So I was a retired professor, and then I went back to work full-time with NABS as an oral historian in January. I've been doing boarding school interviews of my relatives since the 1980s. My parents and my grandparents were sent to Fort Taunton, Wahpeton, Chemawa, Marty, and Stavan. So I have a long history of boarding school survivors within my family. I enjoy doing this work, and I look forward to seeing you all in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Miigwech. Oh, send it to Mo.
Oh, Bilakuka. Oh, Medaka Yapi. Shanta was Chuzapula. Moki Berigo Emachiapula. Good morning, good afternoon, relatives. My name is Moki Berigo. Well, my father is Oglala Lakota, and my mother is Turtle Mountain and Anishinaabe. I come from a Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Tioshpaike Waiki, Chakpe Ope, Heta Hapala. My family comes from Wounded Knee community, and I'm one of the oral historians. One of the three oral historians who will be talking directly with the relatives who want to share, their experiences.
Door open.
Who else can I pass it to here? Well, I see the Iku. I'll pass it to you, Iku.
Okay, miigwech, oki, niskinitani ikutsumiski maki back. Hi, my name's Ikutsumiski Maki Beck. I go by Iku. I'm the community engagement coordinator at NABS, and I'm Blackfeet and enrolled in the Little Shell Chippewa tribe of Montana. And I've been with NABS for a while. I live in Minneapolis
Door
now.
open.
And I'm excited that there's going to be the project coming next week. I will pass it over to Annabelle.
Miigwech Iku, Anin Buju, Annabelle Indigenous, Ajijakin Dorem, Ishkongen Donjaba, Indikenomage, Nishtabemo Magua. Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here with you all. My name is Annabelle. I'm a Saginaw Chippewa descendant, which is in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I grew up in New York State, where I'm currently located. And I serve as the digital content manager here at NABS, which just means I do anything having to do with digital stuff. And I will also be in Minneapolis next week, and I'm very much looking forward to meeting all of you. You'll probably see me behind a camera, but also face to face with you all. And I'm just super grateful to be here. And is there anyone else that let's see, Deidre?
Dakyapi, Chante Washke Nape, Chiusapi. My name is Deidre Whiteman. I'm the Director of Research and Education. I am Spirit Lake Dakota Hidatsa. I'm also a descendant of the Meskwaki and Turtle Mountain Band of Ojibwe Nations. And I have been with NABS for the past 2.5 years now. And I will be in Minneapolis with all of you as well. Thank you.
Tlasakamati to the staff that will be joining us for the Oral History Project. We also have some NAB staff that are joining us today. We are blessed to have such a deeply committed and high volume of amazing NAB staff. We're also joined today by Joni, Cleora, Arlen, Taisha, and Sherry. So thanks for being on the call with us today. We know how it can get when we're all giving our introductions. So we thank you for joining us today, and we're going to try to keep this as concise and useful as possible, so that folks are receiving the information that they're looking for, and that they are, understand the scope of what it is we are seeking to offer and contribute towards. So before we get into the bulk of our agenda, would like to invite our relative Moki Bear Eagle to open us up with a prayer. He's offered to open us up in a good way, and then we'll go ahead and give some history around the project and some plans about what to expect. So the floor is yours, Moki, and we're going to go ahead and pause the recording so that we can honor the space appropriately for the song that you offer us. Tlasukamati miak. Just to give you a little history about our background, we have a cooperative agreement partnership with the Interior Department in order to conduct video interviews toward the creation of a national Indian boarding school oral history collection, a permanent national collection. It's an unprecedented effort. It is, of course, connected to the Interior Department's Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative, initiated by Secretary Holland back in June 2021. But this program is represents something that has never been done before, in that we are being asked by the government to do this work in the way that we know how to do it best. There is a reason that we were asked to do this work. NABS has been doing boarding school history, education, awareness, seeking accountability, and working towards creating environments that are conducive for healing since 2011. And of course, as you heard, we are joined by Dr. Denise Lajmadir, who is one of our original co-founders, and who did much of that work alongside, of course, many others around that time. And so we are here because of many of the questions that they had been asking, the questions that we have been asking for over a decade, asking the federal government, asking Christian denominations how many institutions there were, asking how many students were impacted, and truly trying to understand a more comprehensive scope of the impacts of boarding school has had to our many nations on these lands known as the United States. So in the words of our CEO, Deborah Parker from the Tulalip tribes, this historic project is a lifeline to preserving the voices and memories of Indian boarding school survivors. And so these documented videos, photographs, this whole project holds the possibility of being able to be archived in a publicly accessible way so that we can, first off, honor boarding school survivors, those that experienced and were impacted directly by the boarding school system, also to memorialize these experiences, to learn from them, to center them. And, we hope that they will contribute to creating systems change as well. But in order for that to happen, it is vital that we center the stories and the experiences, the lived experiences of those that went to these institutions. So we're grateful for our partners and our friends, our relatives at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, where this week will be hosted. We are very grateful to be able to celebrate the grand reopening, which happened last week, of course, and continuing to celebrate alongside them, and are eager to be in that space, a very warm space, as we have seen. We're grateful to the Minneapolis Indian Women's Resource Center, as well as the Native American Community Clinic, who will be joining us on site. In addition to our team, we'll also be joined by some support from licensed professional therapists and traditional healers who will be able to support us and those that choose to participate in this project. So it is vital in this process to make sure that we have a system of care in place, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in the slides to follow. So our schedule that we have penned out until for the rest of this year is as follows. We recently conducted site visits in Oklahoma and Alaska the last few months. We received remarkable blessings for being in the space and the time with elders and relatives who so deeply just wanted to help contribute towards a healing space. We've heard so many incredible testimonies of folks feeling a sense of relief, of feeling lighter after sharing what they have shared with us, of being held and cared in such a profound way, where being surrounded by Native people, our plant medicines, our own traditional healers in place so that folks are not holding this on their own and being held and loved in a way that folks deserve to be. So we are eager to share this now in the backyard of our home office here in Minneapolis. We will then move towards Bismarck, North Dakota in June, then to Great Falls, Montana in July, and then New York in August, Michigan in September, Utah in October, and then New Mexico in November. This is a project that is a 2-year project seeking to visit at least 20 different regions. And we found it really important that Minneapolis be one of the first for a lot of reasons. And we are humbled and eager for this opportunity and responsibility to be amongst our relatives, to be with our neighbors, to hold space, and to join together in ceremony. And so now I'll go ahead and offer the floor to Charlie, our oral history team lead, who will talk about the process, as well as share a brief photo slide deck about some of the experiences that we've seen so far, so that you all can see what it is we have been doing, how we have been conducting ourselves, and how we've been holding space for relatives who are choosing to participate in this truly historic project with us. Lasokamati. Thank you, Charlie.
Miigwech, Sam. So again, thank you everybody for being here today, and we hope that you gained some information from what we're sharing today. And if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We will definitely try our best to address them at the end of our slideshow today. But to talk a little bit about the interview process, first we have relatives and elders sign up with us using the inquiry form at boardingschoolhealing.org/oral history project, or by phone or email, which we will include in the chat. So if you know of anybody or you yourself would like to sign up and haven't yet, we can definitely get you connected to one of the 3 of us historians to share your story next week when we're there in Minneapolis. So after that, the historians, we get to know our relatives. We reach out to them by phone or by mail. They receive a letter, an invitation from us, or by email. And we start the relationship building of getting to know our relatives. We'll ask, which school you attended, what years you attended, if you're ready to share your story with us. So we really just spend some time getting to know you. Then we'll set up an interview time. We are doing interviews Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. And so we'll have we have a different schedule, like each one of us historians has a different schedule, so that, we're seeing people at different times. And when our relatives show up at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, of course, they'll be welcomed by NAB staff and welcomed by us upon arrival. We have a number of staff there to help facilitate and help move through the process and help make sure that everybody's comfortable, and really just in creating a welcoming and safe space. We go over, what's going to be expected of the day, the photography, the interview process. So we make sure that we're comfortable and that we're in a safe space and people are ready to share their story with us. Then we go into photography, and we have a couple of pictures that shows that process, what it looked like in Oklahoma and Alaska, where they get their professional portraits done with our great photographer, Jeff. And then there's a consent form review, so that we can ensure, that our relatives are comfortable and know what they're signing up for and how these recordings are going to be shared and used. And then we proceed to the interview. And like I said, we have a couple of pictures that shows just what that process looks like. And then after the interview, we have a quiet room where they sit with an elder or a traditional healer or a licensed counselor to take some time to decompress and to just talk with our elders. and talk with our healers and make sure that we're in a good space. So here you can see Sandy Whitehawk, our elder in residence, sharing space with her granddaughter Nina, and they were our relatives that sat with our elders and our narrators after the interview process, and shared medicines, shared stories, and really just connected with one another to make sure that everybody was leaving in a good way and feeling okay about the interview process and what's being shared. So then after the quiet room space, we bring them back to the welcome area, and our elders receive a gift care package made with items that are that were handcrafted by Native artisans, Indigenous arts and crafts vendors, different things like abalone shells, sage, sweetgrass, coffee, tea. We send in the care package coloring books, coloring pencils, different things like that, all made by Indigenous crafters and artisans. Our relatives also receive an cash honorarium and a travel stipend, so to help alleviate some of the pressures or the stress that may come from traveling to the city to help with those expenses. And yeah, so that's the interview process. And then I'll go over just a little bit about what our Minneapolis agenda looks like for next week. Monday, we are starting with an opening ceremony and community luncheon that starts at 1 and it goes until 3. For our opening ceremony, we do have some elders that we've asked to provide a prayer for the opening ceremony. We will open with an Eagle staff, the NAB staff, and we'll have a drum group there. We'll have some jingle dress dancers there. So we're really trying to, set the stage for the week and create a safe and welcoming space for the entire week, and start our site visit in a good way. And this is what we've done for Oklahoma. This is what we've done for Anchorage, Alaska. And this is what we'll continue to do going forward with our site visits. So we start Monday with an opening ceremony and community luncheon. And then, as mentioned, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be the days of interviews. And during those days, we'll also have tables set up with information for referrals to the Native American Community Clinic, the Minneapolis Indian Women's Resource Shelter, our Resource Center. And so we'll have information available for that as well. And then we'll finish the week on Friday with a closing ceremony and community luncheon or dinner, starting at 3. And so similar to our opening ceremony, we're offering respect to one of our elders, to a local elder, to offer a prayer for our meal, offer a prayer for closing out our Eagle staff, and we're going to have some singers on Friday as well. And I feel like I'm forgetting something on our schedule for Friday closing ceremony, but generally, we're closing the same way that we're opening. We're really setting the stage for the week in a good way. So just a couple more pictures I want to share with everybody, and then we'll get to questions. So here's a photo of our opening ceremony in Oklahoma City. Dr. Sam Torres is shaking the hand of Gordon Yellowman, who was our local elder who offered a prayer and offered a prayer during our opening ceremony in Oklahoma City and set us off in a good way. So we shared space with one another. We, shared stories. We shared laughter. We shared connection all week. It's really a great way to start our week. And as mentioned, part of the interview process is portrait photography. So you can see here one of our staff members, Meg, helping. This was, I'm blanking on her name. But she traveled up from Washington to Alaska to be with us and to hold space with us in Alaska. And she was there sitting with Jeff, and they were sharing stories with one another before they went into their interview room. and she was interviewed by our historian, Moki. And then here, again, like as we've been saying, we're just, it's really important to us to create a safe and welcoming space where we're at and where we're hosting. And so here you see elders sharing space in our crafting station that we had, which was sponsored and helped out with by the Chickaloon Village Community Council and the Alaska Native Heritage Center. And elders just sat around the table, crafted, created, and shared stories with one another and laughed with one another and really connected. And so that's part of our welcoming space. And then that's the last of the pictures that I have. So right now at this time, I'm going to hand it back over to Sam, but we'll do our best to answer any questions that people may have. And yeah, if you do have questions, just throw them in the chat box or unmute yourself, and we're here to help.
Thank you, Charlie, Tlasokamati. And we hope that this has been helpful to reflect a bit of our intention, our energy, of how we hold and share space with one another. It's our intent to really reflect an approach that is not simply one that is a Western institutional, university style or government style process. We have always found it important to conduct ourselves in a way of our own traditional lifeways. And so as such, we have put many months, even years of energy, of time, of dedication towards refining and honing a process that is deserving of our relatives. Our first goal has always been to center the care and the needs of those that experience boarding schools first. And this, of course, is a project that has been designed to create this permanent National Oral History collection, but we actually find that to be a secondary byproduct in front of the necessary central consideration for ensuring that our relatives are centered, are loved, are honored, and have a space to be among relatives. And so we are eager to be able to do this this community engaged work together with all of you that are on this call. We encourage you to reach out to us, to ask us the questions that you have, to connect us with folks that you feel might be interested in participating. We still have some availability in our schedule on all 4 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we hope to be able to fill all of those appointment slots so that we can have these opportunities to connect. I know that if all of our team could share their reflections, and we've had many opportunities to do that internally, they would tell you story after story of just time spent visiting with relatives. Many of these relationships that we are building upon, that we are connecting with, are relationships that we're going to continue to nurture and continue to care for, and are lasting relationships that we hope to continue to be a part of each other's lives. I know that each of us have walked away from each of these locations having gained family members, having gained relatives, mentors, new aunties, uncles, grandmas, and grandpas in our lives. And while that is a beautiful realization and a gift for our staff that is holding space for that, it is also, I think, a necessary part of this work. Again, we are not anyone else than who we are. As the Healing Coalition, we conduct ourselves in that way, in a way that's culturally and spiritually grounded. And as we said at the very beginning of the call, it's important for us to conduct ourselves in that way, the way that we have been taught according to our traditional teachings, our indigenous teachings, to do that in all the ways that we know how. Yes, we are a nonprofit, but we can do this work in the way that we were meant to. Yes, this is a work that is connected with the Interior Department's Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative, but we are NABs, and we will conduct ourselves in the way that we have been asked to by our teachers, by boarding school survivors. And so please know that it is informed by that love, that care, and guidance. So if there's any questions, let's see, it looks like there aren't any questions in the chat, and that's all right. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can call us at 651-650-4445 for oral history questions that you might have, or you can just simply email us at oralhistoryproject@nabshc.org. We look forward to being with you, relatives, next week and following. So thank you for being with us today. We hope to share this information out as soon as we can to widen the pool, and we appreciate you being with us today. Tlasokamati.